Well, hello there, and welcome to the Not Special Show. We are really nearing into that episode number 20 that we've talked about before. That is usually the time that people stop doing their podcast or stop fill in the blanks. But we're going to keep on going. We got a studio set up in our house now, so coming at you live. And it's a real predicament going on here, guys. I got this really high knot going on with my hair, and I don't know where to put these headphones. Is it in back? It doesn't feel like that is correct. So I'm going to go in the back. There we go. We're off to a fantastic start in 2024. The new year, new you stuff. People hate on it, but we love it over here. It's not necessarily a new us. It's just a living into the real us and living into the possibilities of us and living into what we are called to do. Some of those things this year we are already started. If you haven't checked it out already, my wife Jen Shotwell, she has started her own YouTube channel, I guess you can call it consulting company. It's just jenshotwell.com. And she has so much informative content on personality disorders, addiction, and how to deal and how to live with people that have those things, as well as if you're a therapist or a mental health professional, how to treat those things. So there's continuing education on there. There's stuff for families of addicts on there, stuff for families of personality disorders on there. All that to say, we have been rocking and rolling on that. I've been helping her make videos and put them out on YouTube, and she has been crushing it, working hard, working full time on it as a counselor, as a therapist, and also starting yet another business. One of those things that she's been doing that we have found helpful, and she would say the same, that we've told people in real life that we think would be helpful to you to hear, is when you have something that you really have to nail down on in work and you have a family, do not be scared to just go to a hotel, stay the night, and just nail out that work. So this past weekend, with this new venture that Jen's getting into, she needs to make all these workbooks. She needs to make all this content for the website. And she's been trying for the past 5 months, and she has been doing it for just chipping away when she can at night, early morning, if she randomly has a client cancel. But in order for her to reach her goal and our goal, she had to go for 24 hours and just work in a space away from the family to be able to actually focus and do it. She and you could technically do it in your own house, but imagine the amount of times that your husband, wife, your partner, your dog, your kids come into that office or come into that room just to ask one question, and it throws you off your focus and derails the whole situation. So we don't mind it at all. In fact, that we look at it as this is putting money in the bank in order for us to reach our goals faster. So we worked as a team on that. It was awesome. Shout out to the Renaissance Hotel in Plano. What is it called? In Plano somewhere. Yeah, Legacy West. That's what it's called. Delightful hotel. Asian cowboy vibe in there. We met her the next morning for breakfast. Oh, I had steak and eggs. My mouth's watering. Steak and eggs and hash browns, and then got one to go because had a voucher. Holler at your boy. Shout out to all the points collectors out there from Marriott. But that's what works for us. I hope it's a nice trick. If you have to nail down on work, don't be afraid to leave the house for a day or two if that's going to help you and your family reach your goals faster, especially if you're starting something or trying to just meet a deadline, whatever it is. Don't be scared to go to a hotel and just work. No interruptions, no guilt, no shame. Just do it. What else? I just finished this book called Into Thin Air, and it is about climbing Everest in the 90s when it first started to become popular to pay your way, quote unquote, up to Everest. And it's wild. The author was actually up there when this tragedy strikes. And I sent my brother a message about kind of like, dude, you gotta listen to or read this book because it is crazy. And I sent him this is just one little story, mind you, maybe half a chapter, not even, probably 2 pages of this entire 400-page book. This dude, they get caught in a horrible storm on the descent from summiting Everest, kind of whiteout conditions, hurricane winds, trying to make it down to their first camp, which is still at like 27,000, maybe 28,000 feet. I don't know, something crazy. It's not base camp. And this dude kind of goes off track, gets blown off the mountain, and they're just like, damn, okay, well, he gone. We got to go find our tents to hopefully get shelter from and live. Anyways, they think he's dead. He comes back to life like 2 days later and comes crawling up this mountain with no gloves on. And they like throw him in the tent because it's chaos. I'm not going to get into that, but it's chaos. And they think their thought is, well, we're not going to be able to get this dude down the mountain to help him survive. He's in that bad a condition. Put him in this tent and we will just RIP. So they do that. Everybody stays in their tent because the storm's so bad. The author is there, and their survivors are going to try to walk down to the next camp a little bit further below and start their way down. And they decide, okay, well, we're leaving this guy. The author wants to go, say his condolences basically to this, what they think is dead dude in the tent that they left. Goes in there. The dude's alive and has been screaming for help the entire night, and looks up at him and says, what does it take to get some fucking help around here? My mind was blown. They leave this dude for dead. They think he's definitely dead. The storm was so loud and the wind was whipping up the snow and ice so bad on the tent flaps that nobody could hear him screaming for his life. Long story short, this dude walks down the mountain with a little bit of help and ends up surviving. Has to get his arm amputated, below the elbow, and maybe a new nose. But dude, it's crazy. Climbing Mount Everest is crazy. But they talk about something that's interesting that I've been thinking about, and they call it summit fever. And summit fever is whenever mountaineers and people that are climbing these, 7 highest peaks, they call it Everest, K2, and the 5 others that I can't name off the top of my head, but it takes months to weeks and months to acclimate to the altitude. You're training before you even get to the mountain. You're training while you're on the mountain. You've paid close to $100,000 now. It was like 70,000 in the 90s, so I can't imagine what it is now. You pay all that money, you invest all that time, you sacrifice time, you train, you get, you finally make it through all the altitude sickness, which sounds god awful, the cold, all that stuff, all that shitty stuff. And you get up there and it's summit day and you're 300 vertical feet from the top of the world, the ceiling of the world, they call it. And your guide that you paid all that money to turns you around because you missed the hard 1 p.m. deadline, 3 p.m. deadline, whatever it is. What do? You're that close to your goal of reaching the top of the world and you get turned around. Are you going to be okay with that? Are you going to listen? You're not going to be in the mental capacity up there, I learned, to be able to make rational decisions. So what happens a lot of the time is these people, these climbers, guides included, like I said, aren't in the rational mind. And so they forego their thoughts and their hard, we're going to turn around no matter what, and still climb and still try to make it to the summit. And a lot of the times it does not go well because they broke their own boundaries. And I think about that a lot and been thinking about that in our own lives. What are things that I'm doing and we are doing that we are pushing and forcing and trying to grind and reach the summit to, when we know and we've told ourselves, that's it, we're going to stop at this. If it doesn't work out by this, we're done. But we keep going anyways because we're not in our rational minds. And we start seeing the success right there within reach, or we start justifying it by telling ourselves, dude, you sacrificed all that. You've been sacrificed all that. And you've done these things. You've been training. This is your destiny. But it's just not working out and we're trying to force it. So I don't know what that is for you. It's just one of those things that I think that we can be on a lookout for, of not getting summit fever and forcing something that's going to risk our lives, essentially. If you look at it like that, look at a bad relationship. It can ruin your life. If you have summit fever and you try to force a relationship with somebody that's just, deep down inside's not it, but you've got caught up in relationship fever or marriage fever and you just force it and you ruin your life over it. So yeah, that's an incredible book. Can't recommend it enough. Into Thin Air. And then what else have we been doing? We went to Barbie Land with our kid, with our oldest daughter, and our youngest daughter was there too. Highly recommend Barbie Land. It's an interesting business model and one that's popular because all these department stores going out of business in these big malls, which are back, by the way, and we are so pumped about it in our house that malls are back. If you haven't been to just a classic mall, like a Stonebriar Mall, if you're in the DFW area, they're back, baby. If you're a millennial from our teenage years, that's the mall that we used to go to, and now it's back. There's a Lululemon in there, and the Lululemon's like the new Nordstrom's. If a Lululemon comes into your mall, you know it's back. They got everything in that mall. They got a Foot Locker, a Journeys. The PacSun is still there in the same exact spot that I remember walking by. We walked by it to go to Barbie Land, and I had so much nostalgia. It made me feel alive again, that PacSun is still there, and there's still teenagers going into that PacSun and getting clothes. Not getting clothes, window shopping at PacSun back in the day. So yeah, malls are back. But yeah, that's the business model to a lot of these places. We went to Santaland at a different mall this holiday season, and it just takes up the space of an old department store. They come in, they put whatever seasonal experience they want in there. It's like setting up it's like a movie set quality. There was like, I would say 6 to 8 different little stations, whatever you want to call them. In Barbie Land, there was a legit camper on like 26-inch rims. I was like, nobody's stealing these rims or what? A DJ booth. There was a little Barbie movie theater in there, a little Barbie history, Barbie museum thing. I mean, it was Barbie TV station, Barbie house, the Barbie house. A vibe, bro. Like, where did y'all get this furniture at? Because I love it. Yeah, so highly recommend. It's not too big of a ripoff. Whatever, take my money. And then, yeah, we have been rocking and rolling. But I do want to start a little. I can't decide if it's just a segment within one of these shows or one of these solo shows, or if it's kind of just going to be its own, just me weekly thing called Things I Talk About in Therapy. Let me know what you guys think. Things I Talk About in Therapy, own separate show or just a part of this solo show. Let me know. But the thing I've been talking about recently with my therapist, I haven't put a name on it, and I'm getting my phone out so I can make sure I get this right, has helped me tremendously with creative endeavors. And I think it helps anybody with just life in general. So we'll just say the 4 principles of life that has been fueling me right now and has helped me in being a new author, a new published author, self-published, with a book out. But you can fill in the blanks: new artist, new photographer, new parent, aspiring parent, new fill in the blank, or anybody. Actually, I think if you hear these and you really listen, you can apply these, whether you're an author like me or you work behind a desk. It doesn't matter. So the 4 principles of life that I've been working through with my therapist that has really helped me. Number 1, show up. Number 2, be present and pay attention. Number 3, cooperate with the Spirit and God. And number 4, release the outcomes to God. And I should have prefaced that with God is, you can say, the universe, your higher power. For me, it's going to be God and the Spirit. So the first one, let's break that down. Be present. Hold on. The first one, nope, is just show up and get going. That helped me write a full book, a whole book. You can check it out still on Amazon. A second book, a third book, a fourth book, and had just kept me going and kept the momentum going because I just show up and get to work. Again, fill in the blanks with whatever you want. Show up in your relationship, show up as a parent, show up as a friend, show up, just get going on the day. Show up and get to work on whatever you're working on, creative or not. And number 2, be present. That has been one that has been incredible for me recently. And honestly, I'm going to give a review on a product right now that I got for Christmas called the Airo, the ARO. And yeah, it just looks like a box with looks like a charging box, but it has this really cool app. And what the Airo does is it keeps you accountable for setting your phone inside this box, charging it, and it tells you exactly how much time's in there. It alerts other people in your house that also have the app, and it becomes this kind of competition type deal on who has the most time in the Airo. But there will be days where my phone stays in this box all day. And what that does is it allows me to be present. It allows me to enjoy the highs with my family and feel maybe the lows that I'm having in myself, but it allows me to feel. It allows me to recognize what bums me out, recognize what makes me happy, and allows me to adjust anything that I may or may not be doing to align with my goals and my values. And that has just allowed me to be present, not having my phone on me at all times, sending out texts, taking pictures, whatever it is, scrolling social media, looking at whatever you look at. It's not worth it, because being present with yourself and the people that you love and your friends is way more worth it. You're not missing out on anything on that phone. That's just my personal opinion. But be present. And what that does is, if you take it from a creative standpoint, if you're present in your work and there's no distractions, there's no text messages to check or emails to blast off, you can be fully present in your work. And as a creative, that is so important, because that allows you to stop and have the space and the time to stop and let whatever's coming at you from your higher power, that I think of as creativity itself, you move everything out of the way and let it come straight to you, which in turn, and for me, it comes straight to my fingers in the form of words. That could be painting, that could be photos, whatever it is. But I think when we are fully present, it is easier for us to create and easier for us to love and easier for us to connect. So that's number 2 on our 4 principles. Number 3, and preface number 3 with, remember, you can replace spirit and God with whatever higher power you believe in, or just the universe, or just coincidence, whatever you want to say. I'm going to say God and the Spirit. Cooperate with the Spirit, with God, with the universe, and realize you're not the only one operating. Co-operate. So that means relying on what is truly being given to you. And this is like right below being present. This could be argued as part of being present, but working with that higher power, realizing what you need to do. And I would even say working in a community, because that is important, and being in a community to cooperate with, to bounce ideas off of, to get love from, to get feedback from. That cooperation is so important. And to be tuned into, for me, God, because that's where all of my ideas come from. I think that's what the Holy Spirit is that gut feeling, giving you those ideas, giving you that, that feels weird, or, oh, that feels right. That is who I am. That is a great idea. Number 4 on those 4 principles is recently for me the most important, because as an author, I've realized that I'll back up a little bit. Number 4 is important to me because it is release the outcomes to God. Release the outcomes off of yourself. Release the outcomes to God and to the universe means that we are not always in control of the outcomes of something that we have created or something that we have worked on and finished. Our job is done after that, essentially, because as an author, it's not up to me if people like my writing or not, if people like that book or not. It's not up to me if it's number 1 on the charts and sells 1 million copies. That's not up to me. What was up to me is doing the work to the best of my abilities and getting that to a place that I felt good about and that I was called to do. Past that, that's it. And it's not a struggle, but it is a thing that sometimes I think about. You can obsess over how many books you sell, how many people listen to this, or fill in the blank to whatever creative endeavor that you're on and you're thinking about right now as I'm talking. It's hard sometimes to not get caught up in the social media compare game and all of that just yuck stuff. But when I align with myself and just release it to God, and what's done is done, I'm going to now do my best to tell people about it and show off my work and be proud of it because it is done. And I can't determine if it's a movie or a number 1 seller. My part is done. And what that does is it helps just tune me in and be okay with exactly the process of writing. And again, fill in the blanks to whatever you want. But I'm not worried about the outcome when I'm writing some story. I'm not worried about if somebody's going to like it. And here's the catch. I'm not changing anything that I'm doing based on if I think someone is going to like it, if I think that it's going to be successful. I'm not writing these books and doing these things to be a number 1 seller, to do this outcome. I'm doing it because the process of writing is amazing. The process of getting an idea in my head and being able to express that is it. That is the juice. That is what keeps me alive. And it should you too, because we're all unique. And who knows, somebody, it might be weird and unique like you and catch on to that work. And that's amazing. And I'm so appreciative of it. But what I am more appreciative of is that I don't bend anything and do anything based on that success at the end. Because, again, it's not up to us. So releasing that and just allowing yourself to just keep going. If you get caught up in, is this going to be successful? More times than not, you're going to freeze and not do that thing. And then the world has been robbed of whatever weird, quirky, cool creative idea that you have. So don't rob us of that. Don't worry about the outcome. And just make that weird shit, man, because we need it. We're good with mainstream fill in the blank. I want that individual thing. I love it. So that's what I've been working on. Well, talking about in therapy. Those 4 things. Show up. Be present. I forgot the third one already. It's very late. You got it. Just rewind. You got it. That's what and the main thing, release. Oh, cooperate. Show up. Be present. Cooperate. Release the outcomes. I think that's it. So, if you haven't by now, get my book, Not Special, Special Stories from a Non-Special Forces Military, on Amazon. And let's get to work in 2024. Remember, don't let the outcomes rob you and rob all of us from whatever you're working on. Ta-ta.